In 2009, I was like any average American with a job, working in a factory making circuit boards for commercial aircraft. I had worked really hard to get to that point in my life, to set things up exactly how I thought I wanted them. I had an apartment, a car, lots of possessions. The factory provided me good pay with lots of overtime. Great benefits. All these things had, up to that point, given me a sense of security and comfort. But then, after a couple of years like this, things began to change. I began to ask why. Why am I doing this? Is this really what I want? Is this really what life is about? Working 50 to 60 hours a week so that I could then acquire more things? And were these things really making me happy? Or was I just doing this because that's what you do when you're an American, I guess. You just work all the time, right? Well, very quickly, those things that once gave me comfort were now feeling like a prison. A dull, monotonous, predictable prison of routine. Wake up, work, eat, sleep. Wake up, work, eat, sleep. Wake up. And then, in an hour of deep contemplation, I decided that life was no longer for me. And it was at that point that I arrived at a fork in the road. Do I continue down this road that I know exactly where it's going to take me? Or do I take this road? This road that will lead me to I don't know where. You see, I became possessed by this vision of unlimited possibilities and potential. This idea that life had something entirely different in store for me. And so now, when I would envision my future, I had no idea where life was going to take me. And it excited me. On this great adventure, I had no idea where I was going to find myself. In what situation, learning what lesson from life, where will I find myself? Would I find myself on the back of a camel somewhere in the great Thar Desert? Jumping into an oasis? Or maybe I will find myself on the back of an elephant somewhere in Sri Lanka and dressed like a king, carrying their nation's flag in front of 50,000 people. Or maybe I'll find myself in the Khumbu region of Nepal on a 3-week trek to the base camp of Mount Everest, on foot and with no guide. Then have the mountain humble me by nearly dying from altitude sickness, only to then be revived by the Sherpas and their traditional medicines. Would I find myself in some back alley establishment somewhere in Bangkok, dancing with the ladyboys and eating giant water cockroaches, before making my way to Angkor Wat and then sobbing uncontrollably at the killing fields in the jungles of Cambodia? Or maybe I'll find myself living in a bungalow on a small island somewhere off the southern coast of Thailand, where I would go on to become a scuba diving instructor and make over 1,000 dives. swimming with everything from bull sharks to triggerfish to whale sharks. Learning to do my first backflip off the upper deck of our dive boat.
Come on!
Or would I find myself ziplining over a 3,000-year-old castle in the desert of Rajasthan? Would I find myself teaching people how to scuba dive, living in a tiny, ancient village on the coast of Greece in the Ionian Sea? Where I learned how to dance with the fire? Would I find myself riding my bicycle through Spain? And into the Sahara Desert of Morocco? Living in a tiny fishing village for a number of months and forming a bond with the villagers unlike anything I'd ever known. We could not speak even one word of the same language. Yet we learned to communicate using the human language. Would I find myself riding my motorcycle from Chicago to San Francisco? And then living in a van for 2 years, traveling all over the United States? Or would I find myself riding a motorcycle through India? Awestruck by the beauty and unique diversity of human life. Video! Video! You have to wave! It's video! You say, hi! Hi! Here we are at the Taj Mahal. Say hello.
Hello. Bye.
Bye.
You are what your name?
What is your name?
Met.
Samad.
तुम फिल्मों में काम करते हो? You are what your name?
पागली बना ली क्या?
Hello.
Excuse me. Hello, nice
you do?
I'm good, thank you.
Right, well.
How are you?
Oh, right.
Wonderful.
Welcome.
Ah,
Good act.
thank you. Thank you. Hello, sir. No, it's okay. It's okay. Okay. It's going out.
At a mustard seed factory in Rajasthan, in the country, the state of India. It's burning my eyes. The mustard seed. Wow, the dust from the mustard seed smells like Dijon, and it really burns my eyes a lot. So here we are. I'm showing you the factory, the machines that separate the mustard seed. You're having good fun with Dahlia. Oh man, this is incredible how it's like horseradish almost. Okay, signing off from the mustard seed factory. Until next time, explore your world.
Or would I find myself living way off grid, deep in the mountains of Northern California for a number of years? Or maybe I will find myself, after 10 years of traveling in this manner, back in my hometown, writing a book about the past decade of world travel, and starting a YouTube channel to help organize my thoughts and begin to convey some of the lessons and experiences the road has taught me. You see, I had no idea what the road of the unknown had in store for me. But if I could go back and talk to myself as that kid 11 years ago, I would say this: do not worry about where you're going to find yourself. Just know for sure that you will find yourself. Everything on this channel is related in some way to the process of one finding oneself.